College, Osmania University, followed by an MS in General Surgery from AFMC Pune and MCH in Neurosurgery from AIIMS New Delhi. A qualified trainer at AO Spine, he served in the Army Medical Corps for over 2 decades. In his post-retirement phase, Dr. Ramdas is focused on giving back to society and is currently back in India to join Dr. Aik Cherian sir at Krishna Vishwavidyapith in establishing a state-of-art center that will feature robotics, neuronavigation, intraoperative CT scanning, an exoscope, a hybrid theatre, a cadaver lab and a research center. Their goal is to improve access to neurosurgical care for patients around the world. Now I would like to invite Dr. M.P. Ambali sir, Professor and Head Department of Anatomy, to welcome Dr. Ramdas GV sir with a huge round of applause and a bouquet of flowers.
Pleasure to be with the new generation of healthcare medical doctors here going to be. Am I audible at the back? Yes. I am not. I can't hear what you're saying. How can you hear me? I have a microphone. Okay. Can you see what's on the slide? Yes. The last person. Yes. Okay. So, at the outset, it is an honor for me to be here, and I thank the entire Department of Neurosurgery headed by Professor Ambali sir to give me this opportunity. And I find myself, very honored, because for any teacher, the best moment of his life is to have students who are willing to listen. And today is very special. I am reminded of the day, 1st September 1978, when I was sitting like you there, on my first day in an anatomy lecture. That happened to be our first class also, and I was listening. I can imagine, I can feel the energy here, the enthusiasm of almost 200, 300 students here, joining a medical college, wanting to be doctors. I can feel it. So I think I'm very privileged to be here to enjoy this moment. So today, we are celebrating the World Anatomy Day. Why should we celebrate? There's a reason behind it. If we do not celebrate these days, we do not get the occasion to lift our heads up. As human beings of 21st century, we are so engrossed with what we are doing in the present that we rarely lift our heads up to look back and enjoy the big picture. Dear children, it's not that I think the main focus today will be the children today. Life has to be lived in two parts. There is a small picture and there is a big picture. It's frustrating. Life is not easy. When the small picture frustrates, take your head up, look at the big picture. You will be thankful that God has given you so many things which you are cribbing otherwise. When the big picture gets dismal, everything is going apart, focus on the small picture. So this is the secret I can give you, which I enjoyed while living life. Okay? With this small brief introduction and sharing my happiness, let me get on to today's topic. So I chose the heading to be Anatomy, a key to decode enigmas. As a human being, we are fortunate that we can perceive a dimension beyond a normal animal would do. When you look around, imagine what happened to the prehistoric primitive hominid. He was in awe at what he was in. Everything was an awe. The sky was an awe, the earth was an awe, the thunder was something scary. When night fell, everything was scary. He did not know what was around. And what was he equipped with? He was equipped with a body with 2 hands, with prehensile grip, only in the upper limbs, not in the lower limbs, and his 5 senses and a brain, the central processor. So he started to explore the surroundings with his 5 senses and started interpreting with it. But that gave him only a limited idea of the world he is living in. This is where we became different from the rest of the animals, and we stand at the forefront of evolution. We started probing. Now, anatomy, if I asked any of you what is it, you will say it's a study of the organization of body. If I say human anatomy, if you go into the literal meaning, anatomia means cut open, lay open. So, this is a technique. It is the key which enables you to start understanding anything which is an enigma around you. Now, if you look at the great thinker of this, the main tool in the prehistoric times was just your brain processing the information around you, limited to the 5 senses you have, which are not enhanced. I hope you understand. They are not enhanced means they are the way it is, the way you see without glasses, without a magnifying glass, the way you hear, the way you taste. This is all that was there. He formed some presumptions. With the result, what happened? He understood the environment to a limited extent. Then it became very important that you got to break it down into individual components. And the more intimate is the more accurate you become of understanding a thing, the more minimalistic is your dissection, the more minimized picture you have. Basically what it means is, this is what Hindu philosophy also says, to understand the outside, look inside. You want to understand the human body, you look at the surface, what you understand is just probably 5 to 10%. You need to go inside, you need to open it up, you need to see layer by layer. So, to understand everything, you need to start looking into lay open things. That is what anatomia literally means. So, today we will confine ourselves to how the knowledge of the human body evolved over the last centuries. Okay, we'll start from the inception, because if you want to leap forward, you need to go back that much. You just take a step forward, the length of your leap is limited. You take 10 steps back, come running and jump, and you see where you go. So today, sit back and enjoy the story of how anatomy developed. The details won't be there because the rest of your life, even I am learning anatomy today, we'll be learning. So today I want to just give you the perspective. Okay? So let's see how anatomy developed. Whenever you want to study history, we broadly say prehistoric and historic. What does this mean? Historic means that for which you have some evidence, some written written thing about the knowledge. Before that, what happened is all prehistoric. Then, if you look at the evolution of the human evolution, it started about 3 million years back. Okay, the Neolithic period is only 10,000 before Christ. That means this is the time you started living an organized life. Before that, you were living like an animal. So here what did we do? With our intelligence, we started understanding the environment and we started controlling it. By controlling, what did you do? You got food to your house instead of going and getting food like a hunter-gatherer. Agriculture developed. Then you realized working alone, survival is difficult. You became a group. You started having a society for which the requirement was you needed communication, you needed a language developed. Then you started controlling the elements. You protected yourself from the wind, from the sun and other natural elements. You controlled fire. You started using it to your benefit. Basically, with your mind, you dissected the environment around and you aligned yourself properly so that survival is no more a threat to you, unlike any other animal. You are assured you are going to live for 100 years safely. This is what we achieved. Having achieved this, what you conquered is time. You started having a lot of free time. Free time, when your brain starts processing over time, it starts to grow. So that is how we started advancing and developing our intellect. Now, it is one thing to conquer what is around you and become safe. But what was problem was what is troubling the human body? The diseases which were troubling, the limitations which you are facing because of the diseases. You had to understand, you had to treat. Now, when people started looking in this direction, initially they studied on the surface, that was not enough. Then they wanted to look inside. So that is where the true study of anatomy started, and then it evolved further. So the most important step here, as you see, one is agriculture. Then came the handwriting. But the materials were perishable. As I told you, in the evolution, you formed a society. What happens to all your experiences when you die? You lose them with you. They wanted to know how to pass it on to the next generation. Today, we are all so knowledgeable talking here, talking about the latest things because we are standing on the shoulders of giants who lived their whole life trying to figure out one aspect. All this information did not go waste because they developed writing. They could record their experiences, which were, the next generation does not have to reinvent the wheel. So having done this, they accumulated all that. And this became more and more robust when the printing press came in the 15th century. Like today we know the digital knowledge, you guys don't even have to memorize anything, just go to Google Baba and he'll tell you what you want. So what we achieved here is, we secured the experiences. Now experiences are two types. One is a total negative experience. That means you do something, it's a disaster. It looks like a failure. No, that is the best learning. Mark Twain says, if you want to learn, hold a cat by the tail. It will teach you something which no book can ever teach you. So when you have a gentleman who's failed in his experiment, like trying to fly wearing wings, he fell down and died, at least everybody knew this is not the way to do. So no more people died because of that. So there is a lot of, never get disheartened in your life when you are doing a particular research project or something, and your research, at the end the inference comes as, you have failed, you have reached nowhere. Good, that means you have eliminated so many things. So the next study, you will be more accurate. Okay? So this is how we have evolved, and now we have learned the technique of transferring the information. That is how today we are progressing so rapidly. Okay? It's like, drawing a picture with dots. Imagine if I want to draw a face, I give you just 4 dots. Can you make a complete face? No. If I give you 200 points for the nose, for the base of the nose, for the chin, for the eyes, for everything, and I ask you to connect, the picture is more clear. So today we are fortunate, and that's why we should celebrate these days where we just remember our ancestors who have struggled to put us in this comfortable position today. Okay? Now let me go quickly. So evolution of anatomical study Initially it was chance, then it was serendipity. You know what is serendipity? It's something which happens by accident, not designed for the purpose act you are doing, but it will find a great use in another place. Okay? So that is the brilliance of the human intellect. So basically it is in the prehistoric times, it was the activities they were doing and whatever little exposure they had of the animals they were killing or the human beings they were seeing, they started noting and understanding, right? But then there came cultural practices like embalming. When the Egyptians had to embalm, what it meant is they found that human bodies rot very fast. So to preserve them, that was part of their culture, they would remove all the viscera and fill it with some embalming spirits so that they can preserve it. Probably the culture said, you know, they are going to come back, they are going to get resurrected later. So this is how tampering with the human body started. Then came torture and executions. You know the horrible tortures where 4 horses tied to 4 limbs of the body and made to stretch. There was something called as gutting. They will tie the man and they will rip open and take out, eviscerate the man. So these were some of the barbaric things the human race has gone through, but everything had a learning, either good or bad. So their initial understanding of the human body started with such activities. Then came the healers. We wanted to improve the performance as for athletes, to live longer, to live healthier, and if disease, try to find out and correct. So then came the artists. See, art is capturing a moment. It is not drawing a face or a human body. If you see the temples and somewhere, some of the statues you find they are called statues, that's why. Because no expression, nothing, just the representation of the human body. But that's not what happened in Renaissance with Da Vinci and all. They wanted to show movement. There is an expression required on the face. When the body moves, there is a balance in which the body moves. So they wanted to understand the balance. Imagine those days, there was no photograph which you click, put and start painting. They looked at you once, they had to remember it and then they had to do it. So they had to build on it. To build on it, they wanted to know the details of the anatomy. So as we go through, I'll give you some examples how it happened with Michelangelo and all. So artists then, they added one more facet. Their documentation was more accurate compared to a person who doesn't know how to draw properly and trying to record the details of the anatomy. If an artist does it, it's more realistic. So it started benefiting the learning of anatomy as well. In between we had wars and gladiators which would show a mutilated human body, and then from there also information was gleaned. Now if you see the ages, during the Stone Age certain things happened. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks, the Romans, till the late Middle Ages, it was all European history. I want you to understand, the world did not develop in one day. There were activities happening all over. It is like seeing a news channel today. If you think what 4 items they are showing is all that is happening in India, it is wrong. But today, why we talk about the European history more is because we have evidence to talk about it. What happened in China? What happened in India? What happened in the Central Asia? Unfortunately, they were not explored areas, so there was no information. And in the end, I will show you what happened there to enable development of the anatomy. Now, Renaissance period is a very important part. You see, the socio-cultural factors have lots to do with the development of any science or anything happening in the society. Imagine the world, initially they thought diseases were all punishments given by gods to human beings for their misdeeds. Okay? Now from there, Hippocrates started saying, no, it is something going wrong with your own body. Right? So then what happened? Came the rulers. They were so powerful that they will not allow anybody to think anything beyond a particular book. If the book says earth is flat, anybody who said earth is not flat was beheaded. So this is called the medieval or the dark age of human evolution or the history. You have to understand these things because there are, like how Corona changed everything, the way we were progressing. Similarly, these are the things which had an impact on development. Today we are looking at anatomy as a science, as a system which has developed. So you need as students to understand this bigger perspective. See, reading about nerves, muscles, everything, that is a small picture, as I told you. But if you want to be a scientist, remember, you are medical students. This field is going to be for the rest of 60, 70 years God has given you. If you want to make it interesting, I want you to develop this picture. Today the purpose of the talk is that. Not to teach anatomy in one lecture, but I want to open your minds. You know, like certain things I found very enthusiastic about, I want to share with you. That's why I am going a little detail on this. Okay? Because these things books won't give you. So, Renaissance period is where they got released from the clutches of the church. They got released from the religious danda which was there on them, telling them you cannot think, you are allowed to do free will. People started experimenting. And that is where, if you see, the graph goes up of learning in all fields, not just medicine. Then 17th to 20th century, we became more techno-savvy. Now what did technology do to? We have 5 senses, we can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste. But any technology which enhances to see you more will give you more information. More information if processed, there are more dots. And your picture becomes more and more clear. Today, what's the difference between a good camera on your mobile and a bad? It's the number of pixels it takes. Right? So, gathering these pixels is what our forefathers did, our teachers did. They have taken 10 years to collect one information and given us so that the next information you will get within 10 days. So that is what we are going to showcase, and we are going to pay homage also to these people. Okay? So as I said, India also things were happening, but they were not recorded because not many people were visiting these places for whatever reasons. It could be Himalayas, it could be the Indian Ocean, it could be the Gobi Desert of the Central Asia where people could not reach China. There was no way to travel those days. And if any of you are interested in history, you are aware of something called Silk Route. Silk Route was the route of trade through which people from Rome, Egypt would travel to China. From India they would travel and they would meet. Central Asia is their meeting point. It would take few months to travel. You would stay there, exchange ideas. I will show you some interesting coincidences as we discuss, where the Indian thought, the Chinese thought and the European thought mix. Okay? All this happened because of these interactions. Same thing was happening in China. So now I'll give you some few names who are very important, and they have landmark contributions for the development of anatomy. Okay? Now Alcmaeon and Empedocles. This is the first recorded human dissection in history. Okay? Imagine this happened 500 years before Christ. This is documented. Before that things would have been there, but this was done for the purpose of trying to understand what is human body. Then came Hippocrates. That was the time people were scared to tamper with a human body, because something which is walking and talking suddenly stops and lies down and looks, something very scary. They wondered what happened to it. They still thought there is something which is the energy around, and if they do anything to the body, that energy may trouble you. So people they would move away from the dead.
So in that situation, Hippocrates, who's the father of the old medicine as we call it, they were trying to, it was at a philosophical level, not at an anatomical level. He was not into dissections, but he tried to rationalize and bring down the phenomena which he observed in human body to the structures of the human body. So that is why even in anatomy evolution he had a big role to play. His observations were surface observations, how the pulsations are, how the vessels are, how the colors change, how the nails are. That is why if you see the old medical textbooks, the kind of descriptions, the kind of history they take, it is from that source. So he remains revered even today. Then came Aristotle. I told you, anatomia is the technique of trying to open up enigmas. Socrates, who was his teacher, so what was Socrates doing? He'll sit on the street. Every passerby will ask you, where are you from? I'm from India. Okay, you tell me, what is life? He will just ask questions. Instead of using a knife, he would use questions to probe you. He will get an answer. Then he'll ask another question. So he was using questions to dissect. So that is why I said anatomia is the key for decoding anything you don't know. So from the same school came Aristotle. But Aristotle, by the time it came, you know who's Aristotle? He is the teacher of Alexander. Okay, he is very important. Why? Because he started looking at evidence also. Till Hippocrates, they were believing what was told. Although Hippocrates is the first one who did not agree that diseases are caused by demons or they are punishments given by gods. He said, no, it is something to do with the body and the disease. That was a radical change of thought and he survived it. Now Aristotle took it further forwards. What was the benefit of Aristotle? Alexander was very ambitious. That is the first time in history, previously kingdoms were small. He started expanding. He went up to Egypt, up to Turkey, he went up to India, he went into Central Asia, he went into Samarkand. When he did this, what did he do? He started getting all the intelligent people to come back. He would send them back. He would not occupy that area. He will make the king, he say, okay, you are my servant now, but you will rule. But I will take all the goodies from you. So Aristotle had the benefit of so many thinkers coming to him. So they came and he started doing a systematic observation of the human body is just one part of it. He did many other things. Okay? So that's how Aristotle is important. Then came the Alexandrian school. After Alexander, they named the place Alexandria, and in the temple of Zeus, which is the temple, in that temple he started making it a library. He started collecting artifacts, he started collecting intelligent people and putting them and having discussions. It's like a university. They opened up. And in this, Herophilus is the first one who started doing dissections. Then Claudius Galenus, Galen as we call him, he is the next giant who contributed a lot to medicine, not just anatomy. Then during this period, dissections went into disrepute. So they were only extrapolating whatever animal information, animal dissections they had. So Mondino di Luzi is the first one again to revive human dissections. Leonardo da Vinci, we are all familiar about his paintings, his art, his inquisitiveness to find out, and because he was a painter, he was very interested in expressions, movement of the human body, and he used to do dissections and he also contributed a lot. Now Vesalius is the next guy who started documenting properly, because by that time the artists and the anatomists started to work together. And then you see it is 15th century, the printing press came in. So they could have accurate reproductions. Otherwise what happens if I tell something in her ear and ask her to translate, by the time the message goes to that ear, there is a lot of addition and deletion going on. So this also was a setback for evolution of any science in the past. Now as I told you, there was a black age called the Middle Age, during which the religious leaders became so powerful that free thought was not allowed. This is the time in the Islamic world they started copying all the texts of what happened in Galen and all these people. And they also copied Sushruta Samhita, which came from India. So they made a combination, plus they put their own mind, their own observations. And Ibn Sina, there are many of these people, Avicenna as we know him. So they have taken the knowledge of anatomy and human body and the human sciences further. Now then came the microscope. So these are all people who have contributed a lot towards development of the anatomy. Of course, the latest technology like X-rays, ultrasound, MRI, CT, they give you online view of what is happening inside the body, and it has changed the concepts to a great extent the way we are going. Some of them which probably the next speaker will be revealing to you. What's in future, how much more we'll know, depends on how many more dots we are going to get. Okay? But at the same moment, I want to remember these people like, Michael Servetus, poor fellow, all he did was, when people like Hippocrates were saying, there is air circulating in the blood vessels, somebody said, no, this is only energies going in the nerves. He said, no, the circulation occurs in the blood vessels. Because it was against the religious acceptance, he was given a capital punishment. Even these people contributed. If these people did not dare and come out and voice, because what it did, it made a thought in another person who checked whether what he said is right, and that's how we come to know the truth. If they accepted, no, only air circulates in the blood vessels, we would be reading a different anatomy and our results would be very different on our patients. So it's time we remember all these mishaps which are sad, but they are part of our history. So let me quickly go through how each of these develop. Now it will be a little brief, no more expansion on the topic. Till now, I am happy not many are sleeping. Because, you see, as the initial classes of anatomy were very boring for us. Suddenly they throw you onto a mummified body you don't want to touch, and then you're looking, they say, Cunningham says it looks like a nerve, you don't know whether it is nerve or fiber. I mean, that's not the way to look at anatomy. So I thought, I'll enthuse you in a manner that next time you go to the cadaver, you should go with enthusiasm there. So that's why it took some time. Now the details are there, this you can get in any book. Okay? So early Egyptians, as I told you, they were masters of mummification, the process of keeping the body, preserving the body for long. I'm sure when you visit museums, you see them today. For that, they had to eviscerate the body. How they did? They go through the nose, they put a small tube and suck out the brain completely. They make a small incision and they put their hand inside and take out whatever they can pull it out. This was not with the idea of learning anatomy. But whatever came out, they thought, acha, if you go into the chest, these are the things coming. If you go into the abdomen, these are coming. But in the abdomen, that is not coming. So this is how, it was a limited knowledge, but definitely it contributed. And they would take these organs, put them in the jars and preserve them. So some curious people would always dissect and try to come to some conclusions which were not accurate. They thought heart had only 3 chambers, not 4. So many such things have happened. So then came Hippocrates. Hippocrates was a holistic medical man. He did not do any dissections and all, but he is revered as the father of medicine. Okay? And he was the first one to say diseases are because of natural causes. Because he did not do any dissections, create evidence or prove anything, he is called an empirical scientist. That means he worked on the existing hypotheses and checked them here and there and said this works, this doesn't work. Okay? Then he was with the humoral theory. I told you things were happening in India, in China, in everywhere. If you see, there is a commonality in this humoral theory. the Greeks sitting there were following the same principles as we were following in Indian medicine. And remember, when this was happening, there was trade going on between India and Greece. So there were people traveling, they would sit down and chat over a cup of tea or a bottle of liquor, and they would exchange ideas. Now these same ideas, they look very similar, that's why. The other way of trying to deduce is, when 4 people see an observation, 2 of them would think similarly, right? They would come to the same deductions. But if you go into the history and see how the things are, it's very interesting. They match sometimes in spite of huge distances. So this is what they thought. There are 4 types of humors: the blood, the black bile, the yellow bile and phlegm, and there is a balance. If the balance gets disturbed, that's when the diseases come in. Okay? Now we get on to the Greek period. Okay, are you settled? So next comes Aristotle. He was, that time people were philosophers. You know, they would play with ideas, they would not look at facts as much. He was a renowned teacher, and he is known to be the man behind Alexander. He wrote the first ever account on embryology. You look at when embryology started. He was so curious about how a life develops. He started dissecting the chick embryos, and he was the first one to notice how from a dysmorphic cellular level how the organs are forming, and he didn't have a microscope, he didn't have the finesse to dissect in detail. He formed some conclusions, but they served for a long time the basis of comparative anatomy, which was very important in archaeology and all, to study evolution. Because the next major area changes were developing was by Darwin at this time, later. But he noticed certain things, that heart is there and it's connected to aorta. Subsequently, many people disputed this, and they were wrong, he was right. But he had some erroneous views. He thought heart was the seat of intelligence, not the brain. And he thought the vessels carried air. So, is he wrong? No, I would say you should understand the inference he made based on the evidence he had. And he was the smartest man at that time of the year. So for that period it looked like real, but later on we learned things are different. Now Herophilus is a very important man. Till now things were happening with animal dissections. He was the first one to have done vivisection. Do you know what is a vivisection? On criminals there was a punishment. They were dissected alive while they are still living. Okay? So imagine those were the times. So when you go back, put yourself in their shoes, life will look very different for you. So based on that, he understood many aspects of human anatomy, which he wrote down. And he realized brain is the seat of intelligence, not this thing. And he opened the skull, he correctly described the cerebrum, cerebellum, fourth ventricle, and he was the first to identify nerves, and he knew there were 2 types of nerves. One would carry sensation, and when you cut the other one, the limb won't work. So this goes back to 325 BC. And he also discovered the ovum as the beginning of the formation of a human body. Now then came Galen. Imagine when you look at These are people separated by 200 years, 300 years. Imagine when you reconstruct, you are reconstructing a picture from the dots which are so much apart. It's not that nothing was happening in between, but we only have the record of these people. So when your scientific evidence, you're looking at facts you can based upon, not on hearsay. So that is why these are very important, this information. He was a very influential writer, and he identified veins and arteries contained blood. Till then it was different. Somebody thought it was huma. Huma is the life energy which was flowing in them. And because when they opened dead bodies, arteries and veins did not have anything. They thought it was air. So they thought lungs were somehow connected to this. So they were different concepts. He was the one who said, no, blood flows in arteries and veins. And for the next 1500 years, nobody would dare question this, because that was the time the religion was prominent. And it's like, you take, human beings are very emotional. If you have a teacher, you get so attached to it that you close your mind. Anybody saying anything will be taken as an enemy. We see that kind of reaction in the society today to many things. So that is a detriment for evolution of science. So if you are a true scientist, be willing to question yourself. There should be, if somebody is giving you another viewpoint, please take it. Otherwise you are the loser, not the person who is trying to tell you. Then came, while at Claudius Galen time, he was a physician doctor to the gladiators. Now it was his job to get the gladiator back on feet so that he'll do one more entertainment program. So during the process of treating and all, because the injuries, every injury has a different way of disturbing the human body, and it gives a different information. So he was very fortunate to be in that position, and he gave a lot of information based on that. Then came the Middle Ages. This is the time the Roman Empire fell. Okay, and then the kings became weak and the religious leaders became strong. When they became strong, anybody who would go, they would write a set of rules, and that would be a religion. If you do not follow the set of rules, you are an outcast, you could be eliminated. A thought which is beyond, not accepted, is supposed to be anti-society thinking, and you would be eliminated. So because of this scare, the development stopped for a long time. So while this was happening in the Islamic world, as I told you, they started taking these books, they started reading, and science developed. Science is like a plant, You chop it off, it grows from somewhere. You stop it there, it will go from somewhere. So long as we have curious minds trying to find out, I'm sure we have enough curious minds here, I'm sure you'll start probing from now onwards. Okay? So that is how it develops. Sometimes it develops in a weird manner, but it develops. Then came the Renaissance period. It is like, when your papa goes out for his office, how do you feel? Suddenly the oppression is not there. There's nobody stopping you, telling you, don't do this, don't do this. Suddenly you want to do a lot of experiments. You want to see that which dad was not allowing you to see in the house. You open up the cupboard. That's what happened in the Renaissance period. People were given free thing to think about. They could express their ideas, and there was material to communicate. Previously there was no material. You had to stand like this and speak, and somebody would come and take me out because you said one sentence wrong and my head would be off. Whereas in Renaissance period, you could quietly write some letters and distribute without knowing who has done. So information was moving and records were being kept. So people could prove it to you, After a debate, you have to accept if the other man is telling the truth. So you cannot say, my father told me so, he says, no, here is the evidence. So that is how the Renaissance period opened up minds, allowed free thinking, and you see how many changes have come there. Now, Da Vinci was the first person. He was very gifted in many ways, gifted in thinking, gifted in drawing, and you see what he did. He started sketching. every detail, every angle, the human body from different angles, different perspectives, because this was required for him as an artist. But eventually they became so accurate, they became the source of information for the anatomists. See the kind of diagrams he drew of a fetus in the womb. And here you can see, all the bellies of the deltoid, all the fibers, the different directions as we know today, and the biceps, the 2 heads, the triceps, the 3 heads. And the best thing he did is, he did anthropometry. He studied, and it became a science. The proportions in which a human body is built is exactly the way the whole universe is built. What is that number? I'm sure you all read books. Fibonacci number or something, you read about it? What is it? Anyway, read about it. So that is the magic figure in which the whole universe is constructed. You take a flower, you take a plant with its leaves, you see the human organ the way it is. You see how the arteries branch. Okay? So there is a science. So here is a man who's an artist, and he went on to explore, and what all information he gave us. Now this is the drawing of Michelangelo. Michelangelo is another fantastic guy. Like this guy, all he wanted to do was sculpt. So for sculpting, he would look for live models to do it. But they would only come for a short time, and he wanted to give the best. And if you ever travel to Rome, please go and see his works. So he was interested. What he would do, he would bribe the priest. In the middle of the night with a candle, he will go into the church, into the dungeons where the dead were kept. Under a candlelight, he will dissect. Because he knew that time Christianity was like that. If they came to know he was going into the grave and violating the body, he would be given a capital punishment. But still, the curiosity to know was such that he would do this. So these are the people who went to that extent, and all we have to do is sit and open a computer and read. If we do that well, we become good people. Okay? And see the result. Because of his awareness, this kind of realistic sculpture he made. You see the tendons here on the hand, that kind of detail was lacking in the previous sculptures because the awareness was not there. And in fact, it is well known, look at that vein he has put on there, the dorsalis vein. So that is the kind of sculpting he could do because of, it's always said in medicine, no? Your eyes see only what your mind knows. If your mind doesn't know, elephants pass, you will not notice them. So the subject of anatomy developed from different angles, people with different interests, but the net result is we have a well-developed anatomical understanding today. Now this was Rembrandt, another great painter. So he has depicted how the dissections, look at that body, it looks as if it's just been dead, and all the details, right from the number of ribs, the serratus anterior, everything is depicted there. This accuracy is only possible if you have the kind of knowledge. Then came Vesalius. So he was the first one to write a volume, a treatise on the structure of human body. It was in 7 volumes. Okay? In addition, he was the one who said, this is a very complex structure. He called it Divinus Opifex. It's a divine architecture, he said. And done by somebody. He went to the extent of saying it's impossible for something to happen naturally by chance like this. So he is considered the father of modern anatomy because of this treatise. And it's very frustrating. The poor fellow, when he was writing this, his teacher was following what Galen was doing. And what he was saying was against it. And he told him, you are the most useless student I have ever taught, and he told him to get out. This guy, out of frustration, 5 years, whatever he accumulated, he tore it and he burnt it. And he continued to do what Hippocrates was doing. But he couldn't rest. It continued. Then 20 years later, after his death, his work came out and became very famous. And this became famous not in Europe, but in the Central Asia and in the Arab world. They copied it into Arabic and then they popularized it. And then it was again reclaimed when the medieval phase is over, and they again reclaimed it and then started working on it. See, people have gone to great depths, great frustrations. And today, we are lucky, and today is a day we have to commemorate these events. We have to remember them so that, we get motivated to do what we are doing. So these are some of the pictures I am just showing. So those days, Pope would give permission to dissect criminals. As I told you, it's called vivisection. And there it used to be like this. If you steal a pig, you will just be hanged. Okay? But if you kill a person, if you murder a person, you will not be hanged, vivisection will be done on you. That means while you are alive, they are going to dissect you. So that is how they used to threaten. So that was the norm those days. And usually anatomists made friends with executioners. So similar things were happening, and then there was a big rush for the human bodies. Have you ever heard the word barking? Barking is a way of killing by putting a pillow and smothering a person. In Scotland, the dissections became so important that they are looking for bodies. So they were these guys, they had a motel, place where people would come and live for a day or two. Once accidentally one person died, they didn't know what to do. Then they gave it to Dr. Knox, and then he gave them about 17 pounds. They thought it's very good. After that, 16 bodies they delivered. When they found out, somebody questioned, once it failed. So when they questioned, they dug out, they found out these two fellows, what they were doing, they'll give drink to the chap, make him sleep in the night, go. One guy sits with a pillow on his face, and next day morning the body is going to Knox for dissection. So this is called barking. So all sort of things were happening. So things as desperate as this. If somebody was poor, wanted money, son is getting amputated, they would amputate and give the leg, and somebody would buy the leg because they wanted to dissect. Okay? So now we know about William Harvey, how he further put 2 and 2 together and developed the concept of circulation. Okay? Now grave robbing was happening in England like anything. So they had to, medical student, you are lucky here, your father pays some money and you are studying. There, unless you get a body, you will not enter the anatomy department. How you do it is your problem. So you would go in the night with 2-3 friends, dig a grave and bring it. So be glad you are in this century, not that century. Okay? And now people were scared. So wealthy people, what they would do, when they die, they will tell people, you build a house for me so that thieves cannot go in and rob my body. And the grave owners, they would tie the leg to a bell. So if somebody tried to tamper, the bell would ring and they will go and catch. So all sort of weird things were happening in Europe that time. So finally it became accepted that for scientific study bodies are required, and how to get the bodies, rules were made in 1832, the first law was made that if somebody could donate a body and you could take unclaimed bodies for dissection, rest you are not supposed to touch. Okay? So then came microscope, and with the advent of microscope, our ability to see smaller and smaller things improved and histology developed. And you will find all these names in the various structures they found out. So progress, now we are in the 20th century. We have non-invasive methods of looking at the anatomy in all these forms. Okay, and we are very privileged people sitting here today. A word about anatomy, the way it developed in India. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I would say, I cannot show you a sequence which I showed you how it developed. Because the oldest textbook which is recorded is already 3-4 centuries before the first evidence of European anatomy, and that already has classified the human body, its structures, everything in Sanskrit. In fact, the time period, they are not sure whether it is just 4 to 6 centuries before the first anatomist, or it is 1000 years before. Because initially it was Shruti. So people were carrying the Atharvana Veda, which had Ayurveda as part of it. It only got recorded recently, and that is what people accept as the Vedic. No, it was existing for eons before that. So we know Sushruta and Charaka, we will be reading about it, but it's not interesting because it didn't develop like a story. They told you this is it, this is it, this is it, and most of it is reasonably accurate. Okay? But one thing interesting, Sushruta Samhita clearly tells how to dissect a body. It tells how to preserve a body. It says, make a cage around the body, putting it in a flowing river. They did not use scalpels. He waited for it to disintegrate, it to soften up with the water. He'll take a broom with thorny edges and he'll just scrape it. And when the skin goes, he studies the structures under that. So it goes on and on till they go deeper and deeper. And he made it a rule. If you did not know anatomy, you cannot become a doctor. Imagine 4 centuries before anatomy started in the Western world, already the treatises were there. So I think we need not go further to find out how they developed because we don't have the evidence. But suffice it to say that information is there. Okay, and because of this, he did some advanced surgeries. The procedures are very valid, and we do similar procedures here in plastic surgery and all that. They classified joints, the type of joints, fixed joints, mobile joints, bones, flat bones, cartilages, everything. They have already categorized in that. Okay, I'll not go into the details. Suffice it to tell you that we had this. So there I end my talk. I hope you found it humorous. Don't be so happy. There's another lecture coming, and that will be much more interesting than this, because that will tell you what you're seeing today. I told you what was happening. Okay?
Thank you so much, Dr. Ramdas sir, for sharing your invaluable insights with us today. Your dedication to advancing our understanding of anatomy and improving patient care is truly inspiring. Now, I would like to invite Dr. M.P. Ambali sir, Professor and Head Department of Anatomy, to present a certificate and memento to Dr. Ramdas GV sir in recognition of his enlightening guest lecture. Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Ramdas GV sir? Thank you so much, sir. Now it gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Ayub Cherian sir, a well-known figure in our field. Please welcome Dr. Ayub Cherian sir on the dais with a huge round of applause. I would also like to invite Dr. S.B. Mane sir on stage. Dr. Ayub is the director of the Institute of Neurosciences at Krishna Hospital and Medical Research Center, Krishna Vishwavidyapit deemed to be University Karad. He is the member of International Academy of Neurosurgical Anatomy and the founder surgeon for cystonostomy. Dr. Ayub is also the inventor of the Sahasra Netra robotic hyperscope and the neurological suite Medha Mandira. Please have a huge round of applause for Dr. Ayub Cherian sir. Today he will be briefing us on the important topic, cadaver as the first teacher.
You know, I feel that I have come a full circle. You know, about in 1993, that's almost 32 years, 31 years back, I was a first year student who was carrying an issue of Cunningham. Do you still follow that book, Cunningham? I was holding it, and the hostel had severe ragging. So I was one of the 7 guys who went into the hostel out of the 100. We had a choice. You could either be a day scholar or it could be a hosteler. So I went into the hostel, and the whole night would be entertainment with ragging and everything. The daytime you were so tired that anatomy was not the most interesting lectures, so it was difficult for us to keep our eyes open because the entire night was, for first 3 to 4 months, it was ragging. And ragging means in the hostel, there are 62 rooms. The seniors, they will take you from one room to another. You'll be free only by 8 a.m. in the morning. Which time the bus comes, you'll have to put on your white coat and get in. So finally, as a result of that, I remember that we were supposed to be very afraid of the cadavers when we saw them first. I remember day scholars, many of them would stand and just faint. Does that happen these days? They don't happen, huh? People have become bold, eh? I remember in my time there were many students, boys and girls, who would faint. And I was given a memo for sleeping on the cadaver. I put my hand like that and I slept off. And that was, the anatomy professor was very strict, and she asked me, how could you sleep on the cadaver? People are, people are very afraid, and people are worried about this, and you put your hand on the cadaver and then you sleep off. So, because we didn't want to tell them that the ragging was the reason. And that was my tryst with anatomy, and then we went into neurosurgery. And when we started neurosurgery, we realized that anatomy, not till the time I finished my residency, till residency everything was okay. But when we started neurosurgery, we realized the importance of anatomy. Because if you had to take a tumor out safe from the skull base, if you had to do an aneurysm, if you had to do anything, it was just anatomy. I didn't have a teacher, so I went back to the cadaver as a teacher. We started doing dissections. I was, for 2 years I was in Japan, and then after that I was in Nepal. We started going to the cadavers and started so much dissection that slowly, we didn't have a teacher, but I started learning from textbooks like Roten and things, and finally, in 3 or 4 years, we were inducted to the WFNS neuroanatomy committee. That the chairman saw that we had a good grasp of neurosurgical anatomy. There are only 8 people. At that time, there were only 8 neurosurgeons in the world who teach microneurosurgical anatomy to the rest of the world. So that was where we reached. And so we described many things. Number one is we described a classification system for the extradural carotid. If I had time, I would have taught every one of you, including the cameraman. It's so easy, okay? So easy. So we made a extradural carotid anatomy system. It's in the textbooks now. Most textbooks follow it now. Then we made something called unlockings, which is now very famous, but we made that unlocking concept. Then we started cystonostomy, which is a trauma surgery. Then we went ahead and figured out how the brain is cooled. If you read up, if you Google up how the brain is cooled, you will get our article. Okay, we described that for the first time. Then we went on to microanatomy. The beauty about anatomy is that what you see is what you know, but the cadaver hides much more secrets. So if you take a robot, unfortunately my friends in EANS, the European Association, they make models. They have these models. Federico has made a lot of models, and they look at models. But you go to the cadaver, you magnify it 50 times, it's a different world. It's a completely different world. What you see in gross anatomy is not what you see in ultra micro anatomy. So we started something called ultra micro neurosurgery. Okay, we started it. How do I? Can we go to the video? I just wanted to show you a few videos. What is ultra micro neurosurgery? You know, that's a Sylvian fissure. This is a Sylvian fissure, and those veins are about 1.1 millimeter, 1.1 to 1.2 millimeter. And those instruments are designed by us. Okay, it's designed by an Indian company with us, because no German instruments you could effectively dissect at zooms like that. So we started this concept, we are teaching it to the world, and you see these veins? Generally when dissections are done, you don't go to this magnitude. Here we are using, we have the country's only exoscope. In fact, we designed the exoscope. We designed the first exoscope in 2017, and after that we went ahead and got the exoscope done by EOS Esculap, and the Esculap exoscope gives us magnifications over 40. So that's why it's called ultramicro neurosurgery. And you can see the anatomy is very different. You magnify it, it's very different. Unlike the models that you see, the anatomy there is very different. So you can see those are the vasa nervorum. The vessels on the nerve, they are microns. Okay? And these vessels, they're less than 1 millimeter, way less than 1 millimeter. So this is what we started. Okay? And the results, as well as, it is not just the results, it's the pleasure. If anybody would ask why Michelangelo did Pietà or David, no amount of money can satisfy an artist's soul. No amount of money. It's the same with surgeons, if you ask somebody, why do you want to take up neurosurgery, and if somebody says it's the glamour or the money, it's not. You must understand it is like sculpting a beautiful figure to the utmost details. And what helps you do that? It's anatomy. Okay? Because somebody has already designed a path for you. Somebody has already designed a guide for you to do these dissections. Okay? And you see the beauty of the human body. These are just two Sylvian veins. Together, they'll be around 1.5 millimeter. Okay? And we are operating there. Sometime, for the sculpture, a small amount of tremor, a small lack of focus can result in the whole sculpture going waste. For us, a small amount of error, it's not the sculpture going waste. More than that, you can have disasters. All right? So, I'm not going to take time because I have to stop at 4. So I don't want to take time as well. So I'm going to show you just a few videos like this where you appreciate. I don't want to rush through anything. I want you to appreciate. When you take up anatomy, one of the things, if you take up anatomy or surgery, one of the things you need to understand is patience, attention to detail. What makes your picture of a head different from a master? It is attention to detail. The master would even look at the shadow of one hair, while you don't even consider that. You wouldn't even consider one hair for that matter. You probably would look at the bigger scheme, round face, 2 eyes, 1 nose. Okay, that's it. But the master would look at each small details. It's the same about surgery. The moment your perspective changes into micro details, you become, a microsurgeon, and then your details go into much more than that, you become an ultra microsurgeon. Okay? So much so that people would think that this is impossible. This kind of surgery is purely impossible. But it can be done. Okay? So many times we go ahead and do cavernous sinus tumors. It's one of our pet areas, cavernous sinus. And I can tell you, the whole world would tell us cavernous sinus is impossible. We go and show them that it is possible. So, can you see those beautiful white lines? That's arachnoid matter. A few of you will fall in love with this. Okay? And those of you who would want to take up microneurosurgery and later on maybe ultra microneurosurgery. A few of you, I remember falling in love with one of these lectures when I saw that, but this is it. You see the optic nerve? That's the optic nerve. That whole thing is the optic nerve. And those are the small vessels of the optic nerve. Okay? Now, this is some of the dissections done in our lab. Probably you guys don't know that we have the single Esculap Academy in the country. It's the only Esculap Academy in the country with anatomy department. We have the only Esculap Academy in the country, and it's as good as the best labs in the world. We have 6 operating microscopes. We have injected soft embalmed cadavers. This is, probably some of you may not know this. And with the Department of Anatomy, we have developed this, and it's a pride not only just for Karad, but for the entire nation. We were at the Postpol lab recently in Bangalore, and we told about this. And you usually go to United States, or the next place for you is Hong Kong, okay, Esculap Academy. So you go there and you pay thousands of dollars and get to do dissections, but we have one right here. We developed that, okay? Now, I would want you to see what some things are from anatomy. This is our the hyperscope that we developed, and this is the textbook of cystonostomy that we got out, and this is the theater. Probably you won't know that we have one of the most modern theaters in the world as well. So this is a theater unlike any place in the world. It has the world's first 192 slice CT. We designed it with Siemens. And what it does is that CT scan comes on a rail into my operating theater. It comes on a rail. And it comes to my table while the patient's head is still open. We can take a scan, and that scan can be converted with software to a VR. And that VR can be superimposed to my operating field using either a HoloLens or Apple Pro Vision. So this is called hypervision. We described that for the first time in a Springer Nature textbook, and it has been in reality right now. It is the only theater in the world. Okay, so you probably might not know this, but it's the only theater in the world where we can do this. Okay. So we have done some pioneering work there. That's a theater. It's a connected theater. That's a intraop CT scan. Those are the armrests, and that's the exoscope. It's a country's only exoscope. It was Asia's first exoscope before China had 2 or 3 of them, but it is Asia's first exoscope. And And the exoscope was designed by us. We designed the exoscope for the first time in the world. So you can see how the exoscope moves in and out. As my last slide, I'll show you the world's first exoscope which we designed. It was in Spain. I was working with the University of Alicante on a shoestring budget. And this is the world's first exoscope. The work was done in 2014 to 2017. And when it came out, nobody had seen anything like it. And we wrote it on a textbook. We never patented anything. So we wrote it on a textbook. Escalab took that idea and made it into an exoscope, which we have it in the theater right now. So I had put an exoscope and endoscope into two universal robots and programmed it such that it could even find an area, scan the area, find a pattern and bring that into the center of the field. Okay, so you can see that that's a pattern being, the endoscope is finding the pattern and it is building, it's bringing it into the center. Even today no exoscope can do this. Okay, so that is, it's bringing, it's by itself. So one of our future projects is an AI atlas of VR anatomy that can be projected onto the exoscope, so that when the surgeon is operating, the exoscope will teach you what is that. The surgeon touches something, the exoscope will tell you that's a carotid, or that's a third nerve, that's a sixth nerve. So this is some of our projects going on. That's my engineer Eduardo. He's moving his head and the scope is moving. Okay, all these are not even found in today's most modern exoscopes. We did this with a budget of $10,000, and to think that today's scopes, average scopes, are about $1 million. Okay. And this is an exoscope named after my daughter, first generation, Sanma Yoko, done by an Indian company. This is another endoscope holder done again, named after my second daughter. Thank you very much. And we would not. So the point is, from anatomy starts everything. And anatomy, how much ever you learn, it's still a mystery. You can go to 550 zooms. At 500 zoom, there will be another world waiting for you. Okay? At 1000 zoom, there's another world. You go into quantum. I was just talking about quantum coherence. And at 10,000, you will have another world. So anatomy is the teacher. It is the beginnings. It is the teacher. All the best for you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. S.B. Mane, sir, from the Department of Anatomy, to present a certificate and memento to Dr. Ayub Cherian, sir, in recognition of his enlightening guest lecture. Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Ayub Cherian, sir? Thank you so much, sir. Greetings to our esteemed guests and all the attendees of today's World Anatomy Day, organized by the Department of Anatomy at Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Krishna Vishwavidyapit, deemed to be University, Karad. We are truly honored to be graced by the presence of our chief guest, the Honorable Dr. Suresh Bhosle, sir, Chancellor of Krishna Vishwavidyapit, deemed to be University, Karad. We also extend a warm welcome to our guest of honor, the Honorable Dr. Praveen Shingare, sir, Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation at Krishna Vishwavidyapit, deemed to be University, Karad. We are privileged to have with us Dr. M.A. Doshi, ma'am, former professor and head of the Department of Anatomy at Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad, and Dr. Rao Saheb Patil, sir, former professor of the Department of Anatomy at KMS, Karad. In the esteemed presence of Dr. Mrs. Neela Mishra, ma'am, Vice Chancellor of Krishna Vishwavidyapit, deemed to be University, Karad. I will also like to welcome Dean Girish Pathade, sir, of Krishna Institute of Allied Sciences. Can we have a huge round of applause for all our dignitaries on the dais? I will like to invite Dr. M.P. Ambali sir, Professor and Head, Department of Anatomy, to welcome our Chancellor sir, Honorable Dr. Suresh Bhosle sir, with a bouquet of flowers. Can we have a huge round of applause? Now I would like to invite Dr. S.B. Mane sir to hand over a bouquet of flowers to Vice Chancellor sir, Vice Chancellor ma'am. Now I would like to request Dr. Sandeep Mohite sir to give a bouquet of flowers to Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation, Dr. Pravin Shingare sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Avantika Bamni ma'am to give a bouquet of flowers to Dr. M.A. Doshi ma'am. Now I would like to request Dr. Priya Roy ma'am to give a bouquet of flowers to Dr. Rao Sahib Patil sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Swapna Shedge ma'am to give a bouquet of flowers to Girish Pathade sir. Now I would like to request Thoraj sir to give a bouquet of flowers to Ambali sir. Thank you so much. I will now like to invite Dr. M.P. Ambali sir, Professor and Head, Department of Anatomy at Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad, to brief everyone about World Anatomy Day and today's major event, the felicitation of anatomists. Please welcome Dr. M.P. Ambali sir with a huge round of applause.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Respected Honorable Dr. Suresh Bhosle sir, Chancellor KVV, Principal Advisor, Academic and Accreditation, Dr. Pravin Shingare sir, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Mrs. Neelam Mishra, Registrar Sir, Ghorpade sir, Dean Madam, and Medical Director Kansai sir. They are busy with AAA functions, so couldn't make out. Specially invited Dr. Megha Doshi and Dr. Rao sir, and esteemed faculty, staff, and students. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to our World Anatomy Day 24. World Anatomy Day is celebrated on 15th of October every year in the memory of renowned anatomist Andreas Vesalius. He is called as the father of modern anatomy. He was the first to carry out dissection to closely observe the inner structure and construction of human body. Human anatomy was not learned by dissecting dead bodies before him. Shushruta appliedly called as the father of surgery and father of applied anatomy. Herophilus is called as the father of anatomy. The only person who can challenge Herophilus is Andreas Vesalius. Today we are gathered to recognize the significance of anatomy in medicine, research, and education. World Anatomy is a global event that unites anatomists, medical professionals, and students in promoting the importance of anatomy. It highlights the impact of anatomical research on healthcare and education. I would like to extend my gratitude to our dedicated faculty and staff for the tireless effort in teaching and expertise to inspire our students. To our students, your curiosity and enthusiasm for learning anatomy are commendable. Your understanding of human anatomy will serve as a strong foundation for your future careers. Today's program includes felicitation of the lifetime achievement to our senior teachers who have contributed in bringing up this anatomy department in KIMS Karad. Without them, we could not have reached till here. Now it's time to take ahead of the anatomy department with new concepts and technology. We are also going to appreciate the students of first year of medical, dental, and physiotherapy who stood first, second, and third in the subject of anatomy. We are also going to facilitate the senior undergraduate students and staff members of anatomy department who has taken efforts for upliftment of the image of the department, with some doing videos on the body donation, some coming with newer evolving technique, or some standing with me till late evening and helping me in the university timetable, maintaining internal assessment, giving the idea to the students and their parents about the marks needed in the prelims exam after the completion of second part of complete test for appearing in the university exam. Next year we will plan more. I would like to thank Dr. Aib Cherian sir and Dr. Ramdas sir for accepting my invitation for the orientation lecture to the newly admitted student. My special thanks to Dean Dr. Kadam Madam for giving a wonderful idea of this 3D trophy. Thanks to Dr. S.R. Patil for helping me in the scroll of honor. Without saying thanks to Ms. Archana Madam, my speech will be incomplete. Before I end my speech, let us continue to advance our knowledge of anatomy, drive innovation and improve health care outcomes. Thank you all for your presence here, for joining us on this special day. Let us celebrate the wonders of human anatomy together. Thank you once and all.
Thank you so much, sir. Following this, we would like to commence our event with the lighting of the diya by our chief guests and honorable dignitaries. The entire audience is requested to stand on their seats for the lighting of diya. All the attendees are requested to maintain the decorum. And third ranks in the university examination conducted by Krishna Vishwavidyapeeth deemed to be university. As per the further announcement, let's celebrate their hard work and dedication. From MBBS, first rank goes to Miss Mahika Deshmukh. Mahika Deshmukh, please approach the stage. I will now like to request Chancellor Sir I would like to request Chancellor Sir to felicitate Miss Mahika Deshmukh with a memento and a certificate. All are requested to give a huge round of applause for Miss Mahika Deshmukh. Second rank in anatomy from MBBS goes to Mr. Akhilesh Hazare. I will now request Chancellor Sir to felicitate him. Third rank in anatomy from MBBS goes to Mr. Kshitij Desai. I will request Chancellor Sir to felicitate Mr. Kshitij Desai. Thank you so much, Chancellor Sir. Now I would like to request Vice Chancellor Ma'am to felicitate the students of BDS. First rank in anatomy goes to Ms. Shweta Patil. Shweta Patil, please approach the stage. Now I would like to request Vice Chancellor Ma'am to felicitate Ms. Shweta Patil. Second rank in BDS Anatomy goes to Miss Gauri Patil. Please approach the dais. I would now like to request Vice Chancellor Ma'am to felicitate Miss Gauri Patil. Third rank goes to Harshita Ajmera. I would like to request Vice Chancellor Ma'am to felicitate Miss Harshita Ajmera. Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor Ma'am. Now for the students of BPTH, I would like to request Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation to felicitate the students. In first semester, first rank in anatomy goes to Miss Rutuja Apte. Miss Rutuja Apte, please come on the stage. I will now like to request Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation to felicitate her. Now, I would like to request Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation to felicitate Ms. Tanushri Bhosle, who has got second rank in first semester and first rank in second semester in anatomy, to be felicitated. I will request Vice Chancellor sir to felicitate. Now, I would like to request Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation to felicitate Ms. Tanushri Bhosle. Now, I would like to request Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation to felicitate Ms. Anuja Pawar for second rank in second semester of anatomy for BPTH.
Respected Honorable Sir and the dignitaries on the dais. In my first lecture, I mentioned that there are some senior students from this college, university, and staff member who helped me in the upliftment of the department. So I'd like to invite on the stage Mr. Mir Rajendra Wakharia, an intern in the Krishna Institute of Medical Science, Karad, today's MOC and President of KIMS Student Society. His unwavering support towards the Department of Anatomy's efforts in organizing today's event, along with the Med Art Marvel and various other initiatives, has recognized as the best practice for NAC at Krishna Vishwavidyapit, deemed to be University Karad. I would like to request Chancellor Sir to felicitate Mir in recognition of outstanding contribution. Let's give him a warm round of applause for Mir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Thyson Fernandez from Krishna College of Physiotherapy, who has produced a remarkable documentary with Department of Anatomy enlightening the Society on organ donation. The documentary has received 7 international recognition and Guinness World Record. I would like to request Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation at KVV to felicitate Mr. Thyson for his incredible work in raising awareness about the important issue. Now I would like to invite on stage Mr. Shubham for his invaluable support in making the documentary along with Thyson Fernandez on organ donation and his ongoing support towards the anatomy department. I would like to request Principal Advisor Sir Shingare Sir to felicitate Shubham for his dedication and contribution. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Wag DT on the stage to acknowledge his invaluable contribution to the field of soft embalming and his dedicated support in various departmental activities. I will request Madam to felicitate with a huge round of applause. I would like to invite Dr. S.S. Mohite, Professor in Department of Anatomy, who has been the backbone of our department. His unwavering support, commitment to innovation, and dedication to excellence are truly commendable. Mr. Mohite's effort to ensure a smooth academic year for students, particularly in managing exam and schedules, are deeply appreciated. I request our Chancellor, Sir, to welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we reach a significant moment in our program, the Scroll of Honors. This is a celebration of remarkable achievements, a lifetime of dedication, and an acknowledgement of those who have significantly contributed to the field of anatomy and medical education. Today, we honor individuals whose relentless pursuit of excellence has inspired many and set a benchmark for future generations. Let us take this moment to reflect on their accomplishment and the impact they have made, not only within our institution, but also in the broader medical community. This is indeed a moment to cherish and recognize the legacies that will continue to guide and inspire us all. Before we proceed further, I will now like to invite on the dais Dr. M.P. Ambali sir, Professor and Head of the Department of Anatomy, to carry forward the proceedings of this most memorable moment, the Scroll of Honors. Now, we begin the Scroll of Honors segment, a celebration of exemplary achievements and a tribute to those who have made significant contribution to the field of anatomy. Our first honoree today is Dr. Praveen Shingare sir, Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation at Krishna Vishwavidyapit, deemed to be University Karad. His dedication to academic excellence and his unwavering commitment to the growth and development of our institution have left an indelible mark on our community. Let us warmly welcome Dr. Praveen Shingare sir to the prestigious seat of the Scroll of Honor ceremony. Please rise for a standing ovation and give him a huge round of applause as we recognize his outstanding contribution.
Please be seated, sir. Please be seated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I will now like to request Dr. M.P. Ambali sir, Professor and Head of the Department of Anatomy, to read the Scroll of Honor for Dr. Praveen Shingare sir.
Respected Dr. Praveen Shingare sir, your journey as a scholar, teacher, mentor and leader has been one of the remarkable vision, dedication and influence. After obtaining your MBBS from Shivaji University followed by an MS Anatomy from BA Marathwada University, you embarked on a mission to elevate the standards of medical education and healthcare services across Maharashtra and India. Your extensive teaching career spanning over 27 years with 17 years of post-graduate mentoring has left an inevitable impact on the minds of thousands of medical students, healthcare workers and professionals who have greatly benefited from your wisdom and insight. From your role as a lecturer in anatomy, your position of professor and head of and eventually the dean and the director of medical education, you constantly demonstrated passion for the knowledge, sharing and academic mentorship. As a Director of Medical Education and Research for Maharashtra, you successfully navigated complex challenges, driving innovative policies and improving medical education, infrastructure for students and professionalism alike. Your leadership as a Dean of GMC and JJ Hospital Mumbai is particularly noteworthy, where your unwavering commitment to academic excellence and institutional development fostered an environment conducive to both educational advancement and patient care improvements. Your administrative acumen extended beyond the classroom, where you played a vital role in several key governmental and academic bodies, including the Maharashtra Medical Council, Maharashtra Nursing Council, Occupational and Physiotherapy Council, and the Acupuncture Council of Maharashtra. Your stewardship in medical research and ethics, as well as your advocacy for organ donation and medical admission reform, has been exemplary, raising awareness and influencing public health policy in a significant way. In addition, your role as a member of technical expert of the Hafikan Institute Zonal Transplant Coordination Center at Sain Hospital and Technical Advisory Committee of CEHAT reflects your tireless dedication to advancing the standard of the healthcare research, testing and clinical ethics. Your contribution to the medical research and your active participation in over 50 research workshops, conferences and symposiums, including national and international conferences, where you have presented and inaugurated key events, have further cemented your reputation as a scholar of international repute. As a life member of Anatomical Society of India and founder member of the Africo-Asian Ocean Congress of Anatomists, you have constantly pushed the boundaries of anatomical research and its application in modern healthcare. Moreover, your involvement in academic and university governance, serving as a Pro-Chancellor, Dean of Faculty, Chairman of Board of Studies and Control of Examination at esteemed institutions such as Krishna Vishwavidyapith, North Maharashtra University and Symbiosis International University underscores your commitment to academic excellence and institutional integrity. Your public service and committee engagement through radio talks, newspaper, articles and guest lecture on vital topics such as organ donation and medical admission has inspired many to rethink their role in public health advocacy. As a thought-after speaker, your wisdom, expertise and guidance continue to be a source of inspiration for both the medical fraternity and the general public. In honor of your lifetime achievement, leadership in medical education and your untiring devotion to improving healthcare delivery system in Maharashtra and beyond, we present this scroll of honor as a token of our deepest appreciation for your invaluable contribution. May your legacy of excellence continue to inspire generation of healthcare professionals, educators and research in the pursuit of knowledge, service and innovation. Now, this prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award is being conferred for his dedicated service in anatomy as well as in medical education on the behalf of Department of Anatomy, KIMS Karad on the 15th October 2024. So, I request our Chancellor, sir, to felicitate our Sir Shingare, sir.
Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Pravin Shingare, sir? Thank you so much, sir. Krishna Vishwavidyapith is proud to have a gem like you among us. Next, we move to our second scroll of honor, which recognizes another remarkable individual for significant contribution in the field of anatomy. This honor goes to Dr. Megha Doshi, former professor and head of the Department of Anatomy at Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Krishna Vishwavidyapith, deemed to be University Karad. Her exemplary dedication to teaching, research and mentorship has shaped countless medical professionals and has greatly enriched our academic community. One of the proudest things is, Doshi ma'am had the privilege of conducting the first lecture when Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences was formed decades ago. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Megha A. Doshi ma'am to the prestigious seat of the Scroll of Honor ceremony. Let's rise for a standing ovation. Give her a huge round of applause as we celebrate today. I would now like to...
Your journey as a teacher, mentor and leader has been marked by remarkable vision and unwavering dedication. After earning your MBBS from Karnataka University, Dharwad, and your MS in Anatomy from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, you embarked on a mission on enhance the standard of medical education throughout the Maharashtra. With over 40 years of teaching experience, including 21 years in postgraduate mentoring and 12 years supervising PhD candidates, you have profoundly impacted the lives of countless medical students and professionals. Your evolution from lecturer in anatomy to professor and head in the testimony to your passion for knowledge, sharing and academic mentorship. Your administrative insight extend beyond the classroom. Your exemplary support for the body donation and commitment to teaching and learning has significantly raised awareness in the crucial areas. Your active participation in workshops, conferences and symposium at both state and national levels has further enriched the academic community. As a life member of Anatomical Society of India and regional chapter of Anatomists in Maharashtra and Karnataka chapter of Anatomists, you have constantly advanced anatomical research and underscored the commitment to academic excellence. In recognition of your lifetime achievement and leadership in education within Maharashtra and beyond, we present this scroll of honor as a token of our deepest appreciation for your invaluable contribution. May your enduring efforts continue to inspire generation of educators and research in their pursuit of knowledge, service and innovation. Now, this prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award has been conferred for her dedicated service in anatomy as well as medical education on behalf of Department of Anatomy on 15th October 2024 at KIMS KVV Karad. I request our Chancellor sir to felicitate Doshi ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are proud to have you as a part of our Krishna Vishwavidyapit family, and your impact will resonate for generations to come. Now we proceed to our third scroll of honor, which recognizes yet another distinguished individual for his invaluable contribution to the field of anatomy. This honor goes to Dr. Rao Saheb Patil, sir, former professor of anatomy at Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad. His commitment to education and research has inspired many and has significantly advanced the study of anatomy within our institution. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rao Saheb Patil, sir, to the prestigious seat of Scroll of Honor ceremony. Let's rise for a standing ovation and give him a huge round of applause as we celebrate his remarkable achievements and dedication.
Respected sir, your journey as a teacher and mentor has been characterized by remarkable vision and unwavering dedication. After obtaining your MBBS from Karnataka University Dharwad and your MS in Anatomy from Shivaji University Kolhapur, you embarked on a mission to elevate the standards of medical education across Maharashtra. With an extensive teaching career spanning for over 24 years, including 21 years of postgraduate mentoring, you have left an inevitable impact on the lives of thousands of medical students and professionalism who have been benefited from your wisdom and insight. Your progression from lecturer in anatomy to the professor reflects your deep commitment to the knowledge, sharing, and academic mentorship. Your administrative insight extends beyond the classroom, where you have played a vital role in enhancing educational practice. Your exemplary support for body donation and your dedication to teaching and learning have significantly raised awareness in these critical areas. Your contribution to education and active participation in workshop, conference, and symposium at both state and national levels are commendable. As a life member of Anatomical Society of India, you have consistently pushed the boundaries of anatomical research, underscoring your commitment to the academic excellence. In honor of your lifetime achievement and leadership in education within the Maharashtra and beyond, we present this scroll of honor as a token of our deepest appreciation for our invaluable contribution. May your intentional and consistent efforts continue to inspire generations of professional educators and research in the pursuit of knowledge, service, and innovation. Now, this prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award is being conferred for this dedicated service in anatomy as well as in medical education on behalf of Department of Anatomy on 15th October 24 at KIMS KVV Karad. I request our Chancellor, sir, to felicitate, sir.
Thank you so much to all our honorable dignitaries. Now I would like to invite Honorable Dr. Mrs. Neelam Mishra Ma'am, Vice Chancellor Krishna Vishwavidyapit, deemed to be University Karad, for her enlightening words. Please join me in welcoming her warmly with a huge round of applause.
First of all, I want to wish a very warm welcome with full of heart. Congratulations to newcomers, first year students. a very warm welcome and all the best wishes for your new future. One thing I will advise, कोई भी चीज़ कठिन नहीं होती है. मेडिकल में आए तो सिर्फ एक चीज़ याद रखना, रोज़ का रोज़ पढ़ना. Everything will be easy. रोज़ का रोज़ पढ़ना. जो भी टीचर 1 घंटे में पढ़ा के गया उसको 5 मिनट तो भी देना घर जाके. Then everything will be easy. ये गुरु मंत्र है, ध्यान में रखना. Am I correct, sir? समझे या न समझे, ये टीचर ने ये टॉपिक पढ़ाया है, बुक में कहाँ दिया है, उसको 5 मिनट तो भी देना है ना. दिस यू इफ़ यू आर गोइंग टू फॉलो तो बहुत ज़्यादा लगेज इकट्ठा नहीं होगा. Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, esteemed organizers and participants, ladies and gentlemen, my dear students, it is an absolute pleasure and privilege to stand before you in my humble capacity as the Vice Chancellor of this illustrious university. At the ceremonial observance of World Anatomy Day, today dated 15th October 2024, I heartily extend my compliments to all the teachers of anatomy and all others on this noble day. And as a matter of fact, the International Federation of Association of Anatomists declared 15th October as World Anatomy Day with the aim of commemorating the death anniversary of father of modern human anatomy, Vesalius, who died in the year 1564. It was he who systematized the science of anatomy based on his study of anatomy. It was his notable initiative which resulted in giving the shape to the subject of anatomy as it exists in present form, which is a milestone in its own right. As such, this day is dedicated to honor the art and sciences of anatomy and also pay respectful tributes to the prominent anatomists who have played and continue to play a vital role in medicine and scientific discovery, facilitating our understanding of our own cells. The theme for the World Anatomy Day 2023 was Teaching Diversity in Dissection Laboratory. However, the theme for 2024 is Anatomy in Motion for 2024. It is imperative for all of us to realize the significance of this theme when we are observing the World Anatomy Day. A science gets transformed into a dead space if it is static. If anatomy is to grow and grow in an open-ended manner, it is inevitably necessary that anatomy as a science to be in motion, has to be in motion. Needless to say that the science per se, whether anatomy or any other science, does not have leg of its own to walk or traverse a distance. It is the inquisition innate in character which is required to be fathomed to continuously bring out more new and greater novel in an unending manner by people devoted to the cause of science. As a result of this, science gets momentum by being in motion, negotiating the otherwise inertia that grips it. Let me place it on record candidly that had anatomy would not have been in motion, the human race would not have known the fascinating aspect of human anatomy itself. It was human anatomy in motion which revealed to the human horizon of knowledge that human brain contains well over 86 billion neurons. Similar to the uniqueness of fingerprint, human possess a unique palatal ruguer pattern. The enamel of human tooth is harder than the bone itself. Humans are born with 300 bones, which later fuse to become 206. These facts that have been revealed by virtue of anatomy being in motion serve as reminders as a remarkable complexity and resilience of the human body. When we contemplate human anatomy in motion, it is imperative for us to decipher that the advances in educational technology and medical research in the domain of technological surge, the future of anatomy has to be in the lap of 3D printing, virtual reality, augmented reality, online educational tools, and artificial intelligence in its wide and varied manifestation, which is bound to revolutionize anatomy education and its application in real life settings. Realistically speaking, World Anatomy Day reminds us to remain curious, embrace change, and continue to push the boundaries of our understanding of human body in its open-ended manner. That is, take a resolve to contribute our small little in making the anatomy be in motion so that it is able to carry forward its eugolized relevance of the past even in the future with ease and elegance. That would be, in my opinion, the genuine and realistic celebration of World Anatomy Day. Let us rise in unison to take a vow that we shall be rendering our shoulders as our humble best to make the anatomy be in motion in tune with the theme that has been set out for the World Anatomy Day celebrations for this one. Once again, wishing all the very best. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity for putting my stray thoughts in this occasion. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights with us today. Your dedication to advancing our understanding of anatomy and improving patient care is truly inspiring. Now, I would like to request Dr. Honorable Praveen Shingare, sir, to felicitate our Honorable Chancellor, sir, Dr. Suresh Bhosle, sir, on the occasion of World Anatomy Day. You all are requested to stand on your seats and give a huge round of applause for the Chancellor, sir. I will now like to invite Honorable Dr. Praveen Shingare, sir, Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation, Krishna Vishwavidyapeeth, deemed to be University Karad, for his enlightening words. Please join me in welcoming him warmly with a huge round of applause.
Honorable Chancellor of the University, Dr. Ambali, Head of Department of Anatomy, Dr. R.J. Patil, Doshi Madam, Pathade Sir, Registrar Ghorpade, Dr. Cherian, Dr. Ramdas. Mrs. Cherian, you are without your sweet daughters. Huh? So, rest of the staff of the university, faculty members and dear students. At the outset, let me thank the anatomy department, and especially Dr. Ambali, for calling me on this occasion and felicitating me on this World Anatomy Day. Friends, I remember the Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences 1984, just 40 years before, from today, 40 years before, the first batch was admitted. So you are 40th batch. You are the 40th batch. We have to go to the silver jubilee. Already we have celebrated about golden jubilee and this, that, etc. So this is 84 first and you are the 40th batch of 24. And just now I think somebody said she took first lecture of anatomy here, first lecture in this college 40 years before. I took lecture in first week. Madam, you agree? I took lecture here. So that is how we started. Friends, even though I achieved the highest post in the field of medical education in the state of Maharashtra, there were milestones. Basically, I was in government service, and when Appa and present Chancellor, they decided to start a medical college. Then I also decided to join with them. And at that time, there was a strong resistance from my family. Arey, you are in government service, it's a permanent service, MPC selected, why you are leaving? Why are going to a private sector? It is not good. So that was the tendency at that time. I thought, okay, but this is an opportunity coming to me. So I came to Karad. I met with Honorable Chancellor, sir. I expressed my desire. And in one line he said, you resign the government service, there won't be any problem for you here. With that sentence, with that assurance, friends, I resigned the government service and I came here. And let me tell you the great benefit of that. Within 9 years, they promoted me twice. That was a historical. And that in 9 years, 2 promotions. Doshi Madam is also sitting here. First I was promoted as a reader, then as a professor, etc. And friends, it is because of that 2 promotions. When I went back to the government, they absorbed me with the 3rd promotion. And that is how then multiple promotions I got. So basic of that, how I occupied the highest chair in the state government in the field of medical education, basis is here that our chancellor promoted me twice in 9 years in this institution. So I sincerely thank you, sir, and to especially Appa, he also, and of course, your board of trustees and this, that, etc. That is a crucial decision. So then my family member realized, oh, your decision was correct, resigning the government service. Okay, forget about that. Yes, I want to tell you 2-3 things. Friends, you will be learning in the field of medical education more than 19 or say 20 subjects. Count throughout 4.5 years as well as internship, how many subjects you have to learn? 20 subjects. Please don't treat any subject as inferior and other as superior. No, that's a mistake which you will be doing if you treating like this. Okay, so this is the first thing. Don't treat any subject. It is you have how much you are devoting to that subject, that more matters. How much you are devoting to that subject, that will give the upliftment to your career, not the subject. Subject is least important. It is your efforts in that subject that matters much, friends, there. That's why at that time many of my friends, let the Shingare be admitted in a psychiatry ward because he is going in anatomy. This was a story with my batchmates. But then now they are saying, yes, your decision was correct. It is not the subject. Second thing, friends, you have to decide within 2-3 years, not today, first year, second year, maybe third, fourth year, you have to decide what is your career, what career you will prefer. Now, careers are the academic career or a practice career or a service career in the corporate hospital. So decide that. No, I should have my own hospital. No, I should go in academic field. No, I am going in the research institution. No, I am working in the corporate hospital. That you have to decide first. That is a road. Multiple roads are there. You have to select by which road. I selected academics. No, I have to be in academics. I should remain in that. That's why, meanwhile, from Karad, when government picked me for a higher post, I decided to go there. But again, family member said, no, living in Karad, where the per capita income is so and so much, and you are going in Dhule, Nandurbar, which is the tribal area. No, we are not going. My family member strongly opposed. I said, no, it is not the place where you are working, friends. Remember another principle. First I said, it is not the subject, it is your activity, your work. Second is, it is not the place, maybe the tribal area, maybe the rural area. It is the job opportunity to you in that place. Okay, it is what quality of job you are doing, what type of job you are doing, what is offered to you, how much you will learn from that job, whether it is a satisfaction or by money or by doing the work. So that nature of the job is more important. Place is not at all important. I have worked for months together in Nandurbar. I have worked years together in Dhule. I have worked once together in Jalgaon, in that North Maharashtra University, which was on the hill, 10 kilometers away from the city. Even food was also difficult. See, but the job satisfaction is, yes, I am working something, I am doing something, and that work is giving me the pleasure. So, number 2 principle in the life is, look to the quality of the job, look to the pleasure from the job, devote to the job, and not the place where you are posted. So, otherwise people say, no, Mumbai, I want posting this, that, etc. That is incorrect. The Mumbai and remain on a side post, no, that won't add to your career, your knowledge, etc. And probably that was another. First was the 2 promotions given by our Honorable Chancellor, and third was the experience which I got in the rural area, tribal area, remote area, Satpura ranges, and all this. That experience that enrich my experience and personality, and that is how in future promotions and future work and future posting, I could give more to the government, more to the student, more to the faculty, more to the institution than my colleagues on the basis of that Shidori, that we call as Shidori, Krishna Shidori and that tribal Shidori. These are the two main factors which helped me to reach this position. Friends, from this angle, I think I wish all of you a great success, and I congratulate you for choosing Krishna as the college for your career. This is a really a good and one of the best institution which you have chosen. I congratulate you and wish all the best, and thanks the Ambali for giving me opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your invaluable insights with us today. Now, I would like to invite the Chancellor, sir, Dr. Suresh Bhosle, sir, to share his insights and brief us on the event. Please join me in welcoming him with a huge round of applause.
Principal Advisor Dr. Shingare, Dr. Mrs. Mishra, Dr. Ambali, Dr. Patil, Dr. Pathade sir, Dr. Cherian, Dr. Ramdas, all other members of the staff and friends. I would first like to really have a word of appreciation for the Department of Anatomy and particularly Dr. Ambali for holding such a wonderful function and felicitating, you see, what I would really say are the stalwarts in their fields. 40 years of contribution, a contribution to a generation of students. That is their contribution. And if I have to put it in the words of Newton, he said, we come so far because we stand on the shoulder of giants. So what you are really seeing are these people who have really created a family of doctors over so many years with all dedication. You know how difficult it is to be just in academics when you see there is so much of lure for private practice. But these are the ones who have really taken medical education forward. Now, just to deal on the teachers here, I think Dr. Shingare forgot to tell you one of the stories of how he came here. We had put up an advertisement that new medical college is coming up and we would need teachers in anatomy, physiology and biochemistry. And he read that advertisement, and there was another advertisement from another college, from Pravara's, from Loni Pravara's. So he decided that he would go to Loni, and he boarded the wrong bus which brought him to Kara. He boarded the wrong bus and he landed here in Kara. And you know the rest of the story. He's among the first teachers to be here, and we were very happy to have him with us. And I remember at that time, as an anatomist, he told me what we need to do that time is have a genetics lab. That's 40 years ago. That was the real vision. We took how many more years? Maybe it took us another 25, 30 years before we could start our genetics lab. And he has occupied, you see, all important positions in medical education and administration. He has been the director of medical education. He has been the teacher for at least 5 or 6 deans of various medical colleges, and maybe some maybe you are not aware of also. So it's a real lifetime contribution from him. As for Mrs. Doshi, I know her from her beginning in the college. She came as a young, young enthusiastic teacher, and she was known as the darling of the college. Very, very popular with the students, very popular with everybody, her peers and with all the staff members also. And from her first day in college to her last day, she has been with us. Every hour, every minute of her life of teaching has been in Krishna. So that's a great contribution from her. And so has Dr. Patil, who has been with us for 20 years. So it has been great, sir, to have you with us, to you see, be able to really even have the honor of felicitating you. Now I'll go back to, you see, I have been told that there's the first batch, the new batch, yes, sitting in front of us, and then we go back and remember our first days in college. And the most curious, interesting part of the first day was going to the dissection hall. And anatomy was, of course, Sir has said, you don't distinguish between subjects, but then anatomy was one subject which was supposed to be the most important subject. And after our first day at the dissections, then we used to have in college a group of students who were very happy, curious to know how we fared on the first day. And the first question they used to ask us was, what is the weight of the Gray's Anatomy? I don't know whether you read Gray's Anatomy, but it was one huge book that time, which was very difficult to hold for a long time also. I think you have shifted to many other authors now, but that was, we used to call that the Bible of medicine. We used to say you have to first go through with Gray, and that was the only book available so far. And the next question would be, how many bones in the body, which is the smallest bone in the body, and why is the first cervical vertebrae known as atlas, and why is the most strongest tendon in the body known as tendoachilles. And these used to be some of the questions we had to face, I think, making anatomy very interesting really. So, the best days in your in the college are going to be here. And I'm very happy with the advice the Vice Chancellor has given. Madam, सबसे कठिन बात कॉलेज में ये होती है, सबसे कठिन हर रोज पढ़ना. मैडम, हर रोज कैसे पढ़ाई करेंगे मैडम? थोड़ा मजा मस्करी, थोड़ा सा स्पोर्ट्स एंटरटेनमेंट तो चाहिए ना. तो अभी you have to give a little leeway for that. So don't worry if you cannot answer questions in the in the class really. I always distinguish when we look at the class, those who are sitting on the first benches, they are the ones who they are going to be the real toppers, and they want to be seen by the teachers. They want to answer the questions, and then there are those sitting behind them, appreciating them, envying them, and those behind them they would say, they are just trying to show the teacher how sincere they are. And those they were who were sitting on the last benches. And as it would happen, you see, most of the students sitting in front, they would top the exams, they would become gold medalists. And when we started assessing what happened in practice, we saw all gold medalists had failed, sir, in practice. None of them had good practice, but those sitting at the back, they had booming practice. So they had some other skills. And those skills we are teaching now. They had those other skills. Communication, you see, knowing, presenting yourself, and soft skills. They were very good at that. So that is the importance we have started realizing now. But now if you look at your subject of anatomy, it has really changed in leaps and bounds. Anatomy cannot be, taught in the same old way. Gross and microscopic anatomy, that was all that we had. But now see what has happened to anatomy. We are not going to look at the body in the way you are going to look at it in the dissection hall or in the histology room. Because things have changed to such an extent that you have to look at the body through so many images. It may be ultrasound, it may be CT, it may be MRI. You have to learn to see your anatomy through those images, and that is going to be contemporary practice. And that's why we want, you see, anatomy to be taught not only by the anatomists, they have also become experts, but by the radiologists. They have to come and tell you how the body is going to look for them, because they are the first investigation you are going to call for. We have to call the surgeons to teach you anatomy, because every aperture that is there in the body you have put in a scope. So you have to look at the body through endoscopes, so many endoscopes. How does it look? You may not find that in your dissection hall. So this is what we have to learn. And of course now the neurosurgeons are sitting here, and they will teach you how to navigate through the most complex systems in the brain, which was not there before. And the navigation is done also microscopically. We looked at tissue microscopically, but we are navigating microscopically now. So this anatomy really as a subject also has entirely changed. And this change, of course, we have been saying for a long time. We are already adopting it in our college. And I'm sure, madam, you have lectures teaching about images, teaching about, you see, endoscopic anatomy, teaching us about navigation systems, and we are still learning about the body. Though anatomy is the oldest subject in medicine, we are still learning anatomy. So for all the new students, this is a great place to be in, great career that you have chosen, and you will never, you see, regret that you have made a wrong choice. You have, you see, sir has said 20 subjects to choose from to decide your path in medicine. But whatever path you take in medicine, if it is of your interest, it is going to be satisfying. So that is what you are supposed to look at. And one last word about, because you have just joined yesterday, day before? Yesterday. So warm welcome to all of you, and I hope you have a very good stay with us, and I hope we don't get to know a lot of you. Now, why do you say that? No, batches have become bigger. We used to know the first batch really, but now we know only two sets of students. Those who are receiving prizes, those who are topping the class, we come to know them. And the others we know are those who come for disciplinary action. so don't do anything that will bring you to us to know you in a different way. But don't worry, a little bit here and there. We have to be strict also, but we are not going to be, you see, so difficult with you that we want you to be comfortable. So a little bit of maja maskari is allowed, madam. Not in class, outside the class. Madam says not in class. So with these few words, I'd like to take your leave. And once again, welcome to all of you. And thank you, sir, for allowing us to be here, for being a part of this wonderful function. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing invaluable insight. Now, I would like to request Honorable Chancellor, sir, to please felicitate Vice Chancellor, ma'am, Dr. Neelam Mishra, ma'am, on the occasion of World Anatomy Day with a memento. Can we have a huge round of applause for Dr. Neelam Mishra, ma'am? As we conclude this memorable event, I would like to invite Dr. Swapna Shedge, ma'am, from the Department of Anatomy, Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Distinguished guests, faculty members, and dear students, as we conclude our Anatomy Day celebration, it is my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to everyone who have made this event a remarkable success. We would like to express our deepest appreciation to our Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Suresh Bhosle, sir. Your visionary leadership and unwavering support are the pillars upon which our academic community stands. Your commitment to excellence continues to inspire us all. Thank you, Honorable Principal Advisor for Academics and Accreditation, Dr. Praveen Shingare sir, whose insights have greatly enriched our academic endeavors. Our sincere gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Neelam Mishra Madam. Your leadership inspires us all to strive for excellence. A special thanks goes to Dr. Ramdas sir and Dr. I.P. Cherian sir for their enlightening guest lectures. Your expertise will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on our students. We are pleased to be standing here on behalf of all the students and the staff to convey gratitude to a guest of honor, Dr. Praveen Shingare sir, Dr. R.J. Patil sir and Dr. Mrs. Megha Doshi madam for accepting our invitation and being with here today. To the head of the departments, Dean Allied Science, Dr. Girish Patade sir, and esteemed staff members from Krishna Institute of Medical Science, Dental Science, Physiotherapy, Pharmacy, Nursing and Allied Science. Your presence exemplifies the strength of our interdisciplinary approach to education. To the students of 2024 and 2025 batches of Medical, Dental and Physiotherapy, you are the future of our field. Thank you for your enthusiastic participation. Your eagerness to learn and engage is the lifeblood of our institution. We look forward for your continued growth and success. Finally, I would like to recognize the crucial contribution from the photography, civil, electrical and the ICT departments. Your behind-the-scene efforts ensured that today's event was not only successful but also memorable. Your teamwork epitomized the spirit of collaboration that we cherish at our institution. As we draw our Anatomy Day celebration to a close, let us carry forward the insights gained today as we continue our journey in the fascinating world of anatomy and healthcare. Together, we will advance our collective mission of excellence in education and service. Thank you so much.